Your Honor, I present Exhibit A, my itemized invoice for raising my niece after her mother's death, Aunt Catherine announced, sliding a manila folder across the courtroom with the confidence of someone who'd never lost an argument at Thanksgiving dinner. The judge adjusted his glasses, scanning the $30,000 bill that listed everything from emotional labor to birthday cake expenses, then looked up with an expression I'd never seen in 3 years of law school. Mrs. Harrison, he said slowly, before we proceed, perhaps you could explain why this invoice doesn't mention the steady financial support we were already receiving for Amelia's care? The courtroom erupted. Catherine's lawyer scrambled through papers while my aunt's face drained of color. Behind me, cousins who'd come to cheer on their mother's righteous cause started whispering. I sat perfectly still, letting the bomb I'd buried in discovery documents do its work. That's different, Catherine stammered, her voice losing the righteous indignation she wore like armor. That money was for her care, which you're now billing her for. Judge Coleman's eyebrow arched. So you had dedicated funds for her support, and now you want her to pay you again for the same expenses? I touched my lawyer Elena Reeves's arm, our predetermined signal. She rose smooth as aged whiskey. Your Honor, we'd like to present our counter-evidence regarding how those funds were actually used. Catherine flushed crimson. This is ridiculous. I raised that ungrateful girl for 8 years. 8 years of sacrifice. Sacrifice. The word tasted like copper pennies, the same word she used when she locked me in my room for asking about me. The same word she spat when I begged to see family photos. The same word that decorated every guilt trip, every manipulation, every reminder that I was a burden she claimed to carry. Judge Coleman lifted a hand for silence. We will proceed in an orderly fashion. Mrs. Harrison, please explain your invoice. She straightened her discount designer jacket, the one she'd bought with money meant for my college. After my sister died, I took in Amelia out of the goodness of my heart. No one else would. Her father was already gone and I had 3 children of my own. Every penny on that invoice represents a sacrifice my family made. Let's go through this line by line, the judge said, his tone sharpening. Food, $8,000. Mrs. Harrison, were you not already receiving regular funds intended for Amelia's needs? Well, yes, but in household assistance for a family of 5 that barely covered. Catherine's lawyer touched her arm. She shook him off. Your Honor, those programs don't cover the full cost of raising a child. No, Judge Coleman agreed. Which is why you also received additional monthly support. According to these records, it was more than enough for the basics. I had expenses, Catherine's voice pitched higher. Do you know how much teenagers cost? Clothes, school supplies, activities. Activities, I spoke for the first time, my voice carrying across the courtroom. Elena touched my hand in warning, but Judge Coleman nodded. The plaintiff may speak to this point. 18 years of silence broke like a dam. I wasn't allowed to join any activities. Too expensive. You said I wore your daughter Megan's hand-me-downs even though support funds were meant for clothing. I ate different meals than your family, rice and beans while you had steak. Should I continue? You ungrateful, Catherine began, but her lawyer grabbed her arm. Miss Martinez, the judge said not unkindly. Do you have evidence of these claims? Elena handed him a thick folder. Photos, Your Honor. School records showing Amelia was denied field trips because payments were never made. Witness statements from teachers who provided her lunch money, medical notes citing malnutrition, and, she lifted a small leather journal, Amelia's diary from ages 10 through 15 documenting where her support really went. I remembered the diary hidden under a loose floorboard, written in a code Catherine never cracked. Every dollar she spent on herself while telling me to be grateful for scraps. Every time Megan got new shoes while I walked with holes in mine. Every Christmas where my gift was being allowed to sit at the table. This is character assassination, Catherine shrieked. I gave her a home. I could have let her go into foster care. Foster care might have been kinder, I said quietly. At least they wouldn't have stolen my future while calling it charity. Judge Coleman read through several pages, his expression darkening. Mrs. Harrison, these bank records show large cash withdrawals coinciding with the benefit deposits. Can you explain? Household expenses, Catherine's voice faltered. Elena held up a credit card statement. Las Vegas. Atlantic City. The courtroom went deadly quiet. Her children, my cousins, stared at their mother with dawning horror. Megan, who'd always wondered why she got so many nice things. James, who'd once asked why I didn't eat dinner with them. Little Sarah, who tried to share her toys until Catherine told her I didn't deserve them. Your Honor, Elena said, we'd also like to present evidence of educational fraud. Objection. Catherine's lawyer finally found his voice. Overruled. Proceed, the judge said. Elena handed over another folder. Mrs. Harrison claimed on multiple legal documents that she was saving for Amelia's college education. Sworn affidavits for state programs, federal aid applications. Yet when Amelia turned 18, the college fund was empty. The $50,000 that should have been there, based on benefits designated for education, had vanished. I had unexpected expenses, Catherine muttered. Like your bathroom renovation? I asked. The one you posted all over Facebook. Or Megan's sweet 16 party that cost $15,000. The one I wasn't allowed to attend because I wouldn't fit in with her friends, I added. Miss Martinez, Judge Coleman said gently, I understand this is emotional. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I took a breath. But she's not just asking for money. She's asking me to pay for my own neglect, to finance my own abuse, to thank her for stealing my childhood and my future. Catherine's face had gone purple. Abuse? I never laid a hand on you. No, I agreed. You just told me every day that I killed my mother by being born, that my father left because I was too much trouble. I should be grateful you didn't dump me at the fire station. You just locked me in my room when your friends came over because I was an embarrassment. You made me eat in the kitchen while your real family sat in the dining room. You just, enough. Catherine slammed her hand on the table. I want my money. I deserve compensation for taking in my sister's mistake. The word hung in the air like a noose. Mistake. Judge Coleman's voice went arctic. You consider your niece a mistake? Catherine's lawyer whispered frantically in her ear, but the damage was done. Her mask had slipped. I mean, she backpedaled, we all heard what you meant, the judge said. He turned to me. Miss Martinez, do you have anything else you'd like to add? I looked at Catherine, really looked at her for the first time in years. She seemed smaller now, stripped of the power she once held over a grieving child. Just one thing, Aunt Catherine. Do you remember what you told me the day I got a full scholarship to college? She stayed silent. You told me I should give it up, that people like us don't go to university. That I should get a job and start paying you back for all you'd done. I smiled thinly. That's when I knew I had to leave. Had to become someone you couldn't tear down anymore. And did you? Judge Coleman asked softly. Become someone? I graduated summa cum laude. Got a full ride to law school. Passed the bar on my first try. I squared my shoulders. I became a victims' rights attorney. I helped children being financially exploited by their guardians. Turns out there are a lot of Aunt Catherines in the world. The judge nodded. I've heard enough. Mrs. Harrison, your claim is not only dismissed, but I am referring this case to the Department of Social Services for investigation of benefits fraud. You received $280,000 to care for your niece, yet by your own admission today, you considered her a burden and a mistake. The evidence shows you systematically deprived her while enriching yourself. Furthermore, his voice sharpened, I am recommending a criminal investigation for fraud, neglect, and fiduciary breach. You had a legal obligation to use those funds for Miss Martinez's benefit. Instead, you financed a lifestyle upgrade while subjecting her to emotional abuse and neglect. Her lawyer tugged her toward the exit, but Catherine wrenched free, tears streaming, not of remorse but rage. You destroyed our family. No, I said quietly. You did that when you chose money over a child who needed love. The courtroom emptied. My cousins filed past. Megan paused, her lips parting like she wanted to speak, then hurried after her mother. Only Sarah lingered, 21 now, looking lost. Amelia, she whispered. I didn't know about the money. About everything. I was so young. But I remember things now, the locked door, the different meals. I'm sorry. You were a child too, I told her gently. It wasn't your fault. Elena gathered our papers while I sat in the quiet. We had won, but victory tasted like ashes and old photographs. You okay? She asked. I gave a hollow laugh. You know the ironic part? If Catherine had just loved me even a little, I would have given her anything. I make good money now. I would have helped her in her old age. All she had to do was be kind. Some people can't see past their greed, Elena said. Outside, Catherine's voice echoed, shrieking at her lawyer about appeals, injustice, and ungrateful children who didn't understand sacrifice. I was done listening. I'd spent 8 years as her audience, watching her perform the role of martyred aunt while she picked my future from my pockets. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Megan. Can we talk? There are things you should know about where that money went. Things Mom doesn't know. You know. I showed Elena, who raised an eyebrow. Could be interesting or painful, I said. Most truth is both, she replied. That night I met Megan, James, and Sarah at a downtown coffee shop. They looked like kids caught with their hands in the cookie jar, except this jar was full of secrets. We found papers, Megan blurted. After you left for college, Mom panicked one day and tore apart her closet. We found bank statements, gambling debts, loans taken out using your social security number. Identity theft, I whispered. Of course. We confronted her, James said. She told us it was for the family, that you owed us anyway. But we knew. We just didn't know what to do. You were kids, I reminded them. It wasn't your responsibility. But we benefited, Sarah said softly. My tuition, their cars, the vacations you never got. We benefited from your suffering. So what now? I asked. They exchanged glances. Megan pulled out a checkbook. We can't give back your childhood, but we can start somewhere. I don't want your money, I said. It's not ours, James insisted. It never was. We talked to a lawyer today. We'll testify if the criminal case goes forward, and we'll make sure you get back what was stolen. It won't be everything, but... Why? I interrupted. Sarah reached across the table, taking my hand. Because you're our cousin. Because what she did was wrong. Because family shouldn't be conditional on bank balances. And, Megan added quietly, because we remember the little girl who shared her single Christmas present with us, even though we had dozens. You deserve better than our mother gave you. Maybe it's too late to be the family you needed then, but it's not too late to be decent human beings now. I cried then for the first time since Catherine took me in. Not tears of rage or grief, but something cleaner. Something that tasted like possibility. The criminal case would take months. Catherine would likely face jail for benefits fraud and identity theft. But sitting in that coffee shop with 3 cousins who chose truth over lies, I felt something I hadn't in 18 years. Family. Not the kind that demands invoices for love, but the kind that shows up when the truth gets ugly. The kind that admits wrong and means it. Catherine had presented her bill, $30,000 for a childhood of neglect disguised as charity. The judge had countered with a far higher invoice, $280,000 stolen, plus interest, plus a criminal record, plus the loss of her children's respect. But the real cost was written in a 10-year-old's diary, in missed school trips, dinners eaten alone, and a college fund that evaporated like morning dew. You can't put a price on childhood. But Catherine had tried. And now she was learning what happens when the bill comes due. As we left the coffee shop, Sarah linked her arm through mine. So, cousin, tell us about this victims' rights work you do. How can we help? And for the first time in my life, cousin didn't sound like a reminder of what I wasn't. It sounded like a promise of what we could become.